The first SEC championship was 40 years ago. In this time, we have built champions.
Jenny Hansen is incredible.
And dynasties.
Georgia will bring home their 16th championship.
We have taught our gymnasts about passion and resilience.
First bars performance since 2016.
One of my favorite faults in NCAA gymnastics.
And we smile when we see them fly.
Trinity Thomas in her second perfect 10 tonight.
Today is way overdue. We know you're ready.
So excited. I love the energy.
It's time to add your story to a new chapter of the SEC Championships.
Welcome to the Von Braun Center in Huntsville, Alabama, for our live coverage of the 2021 SEC Gymnastics Championships. Hi everyone, I'm Bart Connor along with my fellow Olympic medalist Kathy Johnson-Clark, and we are so thrilled to be here. It's been 728 days since we were last at the SEC Gymnastics Championships, and what a thrill to be here on the 40th anniversary of this incredible tournament, Kathy.
And it is amazing. I think the SEC really surprised a lot of people in how well they navigated this season, with a total of 64 meets and only one postponement and a few meets where the lineups were impacted because of COVID. It is frankly amazing that we have gotten this far and we are finally here.
It's the championship. The teams are competing in two separate sessions. In the evening session tonight, we'll see Florida, LSU, Alabama, and Arkansas. That's at 8 Eastern on the SEC network. At first is session number 1 coming up right now, which was supposed to feature Kentucky, Auburn, Missouri, and Georgia. However, 2 days ago, 16-time SEC champions Georgia announced that because of COVID protocols, they will not be here. That was a heartbreaking moment, Kathy.
It was so sad. And Bart, you and I are both gymnasts, so we could feel this viscerally. That phone call with head coach Courtney Kupets-Carter was absolutely heart-crushing. We know these athletes. We know the pain it feels like to not be here, so they are missed.
The top-ranked team in this session number 1 is Kentucky, and they're led by 3 terrific all-around gymnasts.
And of those 3, Raina Worley is ranked 12th in the nation. She is equally strong across all 4 disciplines and very consistently dials in these all-important stuck landings in high-pressure situations. Her leadership is crucial, as is her competitive drive. And Auburn is a young team with only 3 gymnasts who have competed at a championship, and led by a not-so-secret weapon, junior Darian Goburn, who competes in all 4 events with high-flying gymnastics and music and dance on floor that is sure to entertain and score high.
All of these programs have contributed to the rich history of women's gymnastics in the SEC. And as a tribute to Women's History Month, throughout the meet, each program will highlight one woman who helped pave the way for the team's current success. Auburn has selected Caitlin Atkinson.
Caitlin Atkinson is the most decorated gymnast in Auburn's history. During her career, Atkinson earned 9 All-America honors, and she was named 2016 SEC Gymnast of the Year. She was instrumental in Auburn's 2015 Super 6 run, and her 39.75 all-around score remains a program record. Auburn honors Caitlin Atkinson in celebration of Women's History Month.
This competition is basically one meet separated into 2 sessions. Seeds 5 through 8 are in this session 1. Seeds 1 through 4 will be later tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern in session 2. All 4 apparatus will run simultaneously, and just like regular season competition, 6 gymnasts per team compete on each apparatus. The top 5 scorers count towards their team totals. At the end of tonight, we will crown an SEC champion. LSU has won the last 3 in a row. In this session, in this first rotation, we have Kentucky on vault, Auburn on bars, Georgia is out, as we mentioned, and Missouri will open up on the floor.
Bailey Bond with a Yurchenko full, and look at a stuck landing for Kentucky. This is exactly what Coach Tim Garrison hoped his athletes would do, is come out strong.
Anna Sumner leading off Auburn on bars in this rotation.
This is a strong event for Auburn. Keep in mind they are very inexperienced at these championships, so the pace of this meet is something that they will have to really be able to stay focused on.
Quick reminder, you can watch every single routine of your favorite team on the ESPN app. Each apparatus has its own channel, as well as the all-around channel, with everybody going at once. It's going to be wild. Here we go to the floor with Sienna Schreiber leading off for Missouri.
So critical, these landings of all the tumbling passes. They have to show control with a chest up high landing. She opens with a front tumbling pass, front full, front layout to a stag jump.
Schreiber's a sophomore from Cumming, Georgia. She really is their top contributor in terms of scores for this team throughout the season. Solid 39.5 all-arounder. This kind of athlete every team would be proud to have on their team.
A lot of front tumbling. That's a, oh no, a Rudy. That should have been a straight body back layout out of the front tumbling skill before punching into the punch front. So slight error there. Beautiful performance. Unfortunately, that one tumbling pass is going to cost a few tenths of a point in deduction.
Next on vault, after the score came in for Bailey Bunn for Kentucky, was a 9.825. Isabella McNelly.
Isabella does a front pike with a half twist, and it's a 10.0 start value. All of the vaults have a start value based on their level of difficulty. The first vault we saw from Kentucky was a Yurchenko full, a 9.95 start value, meaning that is the highest that vault can score. This has a max score of 10.0.
Her high for this season is a 9.9, the freshman from Suffern, New York.
We talked about the start value. Also watch for the amplitude. You want to see a change of direction. The vault needs to go up and out off the table to show big amplitude. And of course the landing right here, big hop on that landing. Unfortunately, that will be a sizable deduction.
Back to the bars now for Auburn. Anna Sumner led off Auburn with a 9.775. That brings up Piper Smith.
And
Piper.
watch these back-to-back flight skills. She's going to start with a toe handstand, go into a Maloney up to high bar, and right back down to low bar with a pack salto. Nice job keeping those legs glued together on that third flight element. These handstands must be right on top of the bar, just like she just performed. And of course, these sticks are going to be huge. Hop forward on the landing. Again, those are the deductions that will add up. The judges sit right on the side so they can really see the shape of the body in these flight elements. You want to see stretched, tight body, perfect form. Look at the legs together. That was beautiful, but that hop forward will be a deduction.
Kurt Henninger giving her congratulations for Auburn. Smith, the sophomore, one of the big stories of last year. She walked on as a freshman, and now she has earned her way into the all-around many times for her team. Back to the vault now. Raina Worley.
With a Yurchenko 1.5 twist, 10.0 start value there, just a little scooch back on the landing.
Raina Worley coming after McNelly notched a 9.7. Now to the floor. Schreiber led them off with a 9.775. And this is one of their other key gymnasts on this team, Amaya Marshall.
And Amaya has such a nice combination of flexibility, like you just saw, and power in her tumbling, and also graceful presence. She's going to open with a front through to a pike double back. Good difficulty, good control. These leaps are very important. The judges are looking for full split in the air. And on that first leap, that's called a ring, they need to see the ideal shape in the air for no deduction. With a double tuck. Chest down a little bit low, but good control on the landing. Not bad. Just a few little minor deductions. I'd like to see her perform that routine, that choreography, just a little bit bigger.
Good job for the freshman from Kannapolis, North Carolina. Here is Josie Angeny on vault after Raina Worley got a 9.85.
A beautiful Yurchenko full. That was nearly picture perfect in terms of technique, height, and distance from the table. Really well executed.
Callie Nixon, she can really fly on this event as well. And you know, we were talking to Tim Garrison before the meet, and he said, really, what are going to be the keys to Kentucky today? He said, we need to get a great start on vault. Good landings, solid execution, and keep that momentum going throughout the rest of the meet.
And so far, I have to believe he is pleased. And you're right about Callie Nixon coming up. This vault has so much potential. She can fly and show off the change of direction that is really impressive on vault. And where the judges sit, because the athletes are competing up on a podium, they're down lower. They can really see this change of direction where it goes from forward momentum from the run and the round off to the block. Let's see if she can pull this off. Look at the block, huge. She just couldn't quite rein in that power. She stuck so many in warm-up, so I was so hopeful she'd get it here today.
She's coming after Josie Angeny, got their second straight 9.85 in a row after Worley.
So as I said, it is all about height and distance. She gets such a nice, beautiful, straight body. And look at this, almost 5 feet at the hips. And perfectly straight body throughout the entire vault.
Kathy, that's 5 feet over the vaulting table, which is roughly 4 feet. So her hips are 9 feet in the air. That is impressive. Back to the floor now for Missouri. 2 9.775s for Schreiber and Marshall to lead them off. Here's Belle Gatula, the senior from Texas.
And I love watching this athlete perform with a smile on her face. There's so much energy in this choreography.
Ariana Patterson vaulting now for Kentucky at the same moment.
This is a huge vault if she can stick it. Front pike half. Oh, she scooted back on the landing.
Callie Nixon before her, a 9.775. So good effort for Kentucky on the vault. They'll be proud of that first rotation.
Really nice job with that Tergite half split full. Good amplitude on those leaps. Granny to a Rudy. Oh, I love that that second element went even higher than the first. Going to finish with a difficult high double back. Oh, tuck double back actually. Nice control. She stepped forward out of it. Sometimes that usually means you've under-rotated, but I think she showed the full rotation even though she stepped forward into the lunge. Very nice job.
Moments ago for Auburn on bars, they had a 9.775, 9.725, and a 9.75 for Addie Sabados. This is Cassie Stevens, their outstanding all-arounder, the sophomore from Phoenix.
Keep an eye out on her form. Out of this toe handstand, she'll do a single bar release. It's called a ray. She has really improved on the leg form on that release move. Nice to see. Handstand was a little bit short at the end of the routine. They need to finish, be in 90 degrees or within 10 degrees of vertical. Nice job finding that landing. Little bit of a pike down in the air, but wow, when the judges can see no movement of the feet, very impressive. Just a little too much pike down for my liking.
By the way, Kathy, Kentucky's final vaulter, Ariana Patterson, a career-high 9.9. So Kentucky, outstanding effort in that first rotation. Cassie Stevens' score for Auburn on bars is a 9.8 as we get set for Aria Brush.
She's going to open this routine with a combination of toe on to handstand and then a flight skill from low bar to high bar. Everything should look effortless. Straight arms on the cast. Good flight here to the high bar and good swing out of it. Tried to finesse that final handstand to show it off. This is a double layout dismount. Look at the height, beautiful amplitude, but that hop back will be a slight deduction.
There's Elisa Sharameta, the junior, competing for Missouri on the floor now, coming after Belle Gatula had a 9.825.
You saw that flag go up. She stepped out of bounds. That's a 10th of a point deduction. Moody to a layout step out. Needed to be a little bit higher on those elements.
Sharameta is a transfer from the University of Illinois Chicago after the 2019 season when they dropped their program. By the way, the head coach at Missouri, Shannon Welker, is a grad of the University of Illinois Chicago.
I love the amplitude she shows on her leaps and that unique jump, that sheep jump down to prone. They call it a sheepanova. Lena Shushanova invented a skill that was a straddle jump leading to the prone drop. This combination pass, love it. Back 1.5 twist to front layout, step out. Most of the gymnasts land on 2 feet, and I just think it's such an elegant skill.
Nice job. I was talking to Shannon Welker before the meet. I said, what are the 3 keys? And he goes, stick landings, and stick landings. And then he also said, we really need to trust our training, have some fun, and he's hoping for a strong start on floor. They're doing a nice job there, but the scores are a little bit lower than we see in the regular season. And that's not to be unexpected because in the regular season there's just 2 judges and they average those scores. This is the first time in the year that these gymnasts are competing in front of 4 judges. They throw the high and low out and average the 2 scores in the middle.
Darian Gobarn had spectacular warm-ups. Look at the straight arm swing. The height above the
Oh, wow, did she save that?
That was a phenomenal save. They will take
really
a
good move.
slight deduction there because that hand missed, but she was trying to go so big on all of these skills. Look at the height, got the landing. You know what? Good for her.
That was gutsy.
To come back from a near heart attack, okay, when you miss your hand.
A mere human could not hang on to the bar after that. That was amazing.
I wish I could tell you she'd get bonus for it. Unfortunately, they will take a slight deduction, but
they should give her extra credit for making it.
Gosh, did she pull out a save of the century. Good for her.
Great, and she's coming after Aria Brush, had a 9.775, so they had only 1 score break into the 9.8s for Auburn on the bars. But what a gutsy finish there for Darian Goborn. You know, she's always been fairly flashy, but that's kind of taken it to a new level. Hannah McCrary will be up next now for Missouri on the floor in this first of 4 rotations.
She'll open with a combination pass front layout to a Rudy. That's a 1.5 twist. This is an opportunity all these gymnasts look forward to, competing on podium in postseason. It really elevates everything and makes it feel like you're performing on a stage. And I love that they're rising to that occasion here. Also gives you a little bit more punch. We always loved it, Bart, when we got to tumble on floor on a podium.
It also changes the dynamics of the apparatus a little bit. The floor is a little springier, the vault is a little springier, and the landing is such. And even the beam is slightly shakier when it's up on a 4-foot riser. But this is how they do it at the major competitions like here at the SECs, the World Championships, the Olympics. And it is the proper way to present gymnastics for sure.
Really nice performance. I know they're so excited to be here performing, and even though the crowd isn't here as it usually would, the energy they are creating for each other on the sidelines, wonderful.
Tonight at 8 Eastern, a champion will be crowned in the second session of the SEC Gymnastics Championship, with top 4 seeds Florida, LSU, Alabama, and Arkansas competing right here on the SEC Network and streaming live on the ESPN app. Once again, Georgia not here because of some positive COVID tests and some contact tracing, so a heartbreak for them, but a good start for the 3 teams in this session 1, Kentucky, Auburn, and Missouri. Scores a little lower, as I mentioned, than we see sometimes in the regular season, and that is just because when you get to the postseason with more judges, there's just simply more scrutiny, isn't there?
Absolutely, and with all these great teams in one competition, the judges have to be very mindful that separation is needed from the really extraordinary routines to the great, to the really good, to the good. There is space in there needed, and we're seeing that.
See the scores for vault there. Ariana Patterson at 9.9 is the high score of the day so far. And by the way, at the end of the day, in addition to awarding SEC Team Championship, they will also be awarding SEC titles for individuals and all-arounders, and that is athletes competing in both sessions contending for those spots. So at the moment, the leader in the clubhouse on the vault is the 9.9 from Ariana Patterson of Kentucky. Okay, it looks like they have finished floor with Missouri. They have chosen to not compete their final athlete, which is Sydney Schaefer. Remember, you only have to compete 5 athletes. 6 go up. The best 5 scores count towards the team total. And so they've made a decision to not place Sydney Schaefer in that anchor spot today for Missouri. Highlights from this session, of course, Raina Worley on vault.
Kentucky was so strong on their first event, pulling out landings. Really, really strong in that.
Darian Goborn, for that gutsy release regrab on bars, ended up with a 9.85 for Auburn. That was their high score on the event.
This was truly amazing. I mean, that's Wonder Woman right there. Well done.
A gutsy finish for Goborn. And a nice job on bars in the first of 4 rotation for Jeff Graba's Auburn Tigers. All right, when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the heartbreak of Georgia not being able to attend this competition because of COVID protocols.
Capets was one of the most dominant gymnasts in NCAA history. She won 4 team national championships, 8 SEC event championships, 9 individual NCAA titles, and was a 15-time All-American. She has also served as Gym Dog head coach since 2017, leading her team to the NCAA semifinals in both of her first 2 seasons. Georgia honors Courtney Capets Carter in celebration of Women's History Month.
Welcome back to the Von Braun Center here in Huntsville. I'm Bart Conner along with Kathy Johnson-Clark. After the first rotation in this session number 1, Kentucky has the lead with a 49-2. Missouri is in second, Auburn in third. And as you can see there, Georgia is not here. And it was such a heartbreaker for them, Kathy, because they were just hitting full stride when they were hit by COVID here just earlier this week.
Georgia's season began as a winding road of ups and downs, but the positives always outweighed the negatives as they pieced together stronger and stronger lineups. Their confidence was building as performances improved, as did their scores. They finished the regular season 2 weeks ago with their highest team score. Spirits were high and expectations grew as they believed everything was finally coming together just in time for these championships.
Here are the season stats for Georgia. Season NQS 196.781. They're tied for 16th in the NCAA. As we mentioned, they're not competing here, but they have a great opportunity in 2 weeks because Georgia will be hosting the NCAA Regional in Athens. So we hope that the athletes get healthy and well soon so they can have an outstanding performance at home. And we'll be covering it on the ESPN family of networks. The NCAA Regionals in Alabama, Georgia, Utah, and West Virginia. That's April 2nd and 3rd. And then 2 weeks from then, the NCAA semifinals on April 16th at 1 and 6 at ESPN2. And the championship on Saturday, April 17th on ABC. Don't go away. More gymnastics from the SEC Championships. Alabama, the 2021 SEC Gymnastics Championship Session 1. Quick reminder, you can watch every single routine of your favorite team on the ESPN app. Each apparatus has its own channel, as well as the all-around channel, with every apparatus going on at once. So in case we're not showing you every routine you want to see from your favorite team, go to the app and you can see it there. This rotation, Kentucky is on bars, Auburn on beam, Missouri on vault.
Sydney Schaefer just hit her vault for for Missouri. Great to see her. She didn't get to compete in the floor exercise. Nice recovery. Came back strong. Awesome.
Interesting that she would have been the final performer on floor and the first performer on vault. Perhaps the reason they chose to keep her out of the lineup is to keep her fresh for that big vault.
Haley Davis, a little hop on that landing, but a solid routine for Kentucky to start. And Morgan Lee Oldham here on the balance beam for Auburn. Beautiful beam worker. She has joined the lineup as their steady leadoff performer and has done an outstanding job in this position. Very few gymnasts perform beam as if they're on stage, and Morgan Lee has a way of doing that, really finds the moments in this routine to breathe. Lovely arm movement. Dismounts with a 1.5 twist, hop off to the side, really solid routine. They're gonna take a little deduction on that hop on the landing.
Auburn roughly a quarter of a point behind the leaders, Kentucky, after rotation 1. This is one of their best events. They're ranked 13th in the country on beam. So this is an opportunity for them to make it a little bit closer as we get ready to go back to vault now for Missouri. Colin Patrick is second up.
Colin performs a full twisting Yurchenko, 995 start value. Their entire lineup is Yurchenko fulls. So they were really focused on hitting them, executing them as well as possible and kept the landing. A little bit of an angle in her shoulders, so she didn't quite get the big block to really set up the shape that you need to hit in the air to find that landing, but a solid vault for them.
Now for Kentucky on bars, Bailey Bunn. Haley Davis led them off with a 9.775.
She opens with this blind change right here and into her single bar release. It's a Jaeger, straddle Jaeger, a little bit of flexed feet in flight. Beautiful transition from high bar to low. Really kept those legs perfectly straight, perfectly together. Little short on that final handstand. They'll take a slight deduction there. Big dismount, double layout, and a perfect landing. Really great control.
One of the 3 all-arounders competing for Kentucky, Tim Garrison, says he really likes to have about half of his routines come from all-arounders as opposed to a team made up of a variety of specialists.
And he's got a diamond in this freshman. She competes really strong, really aggressively, very confidently on all 4 events.
Freshman from Greenville, North Carolina. Coach Garrison said whenever we challenge her, she responds, as she gets congratulations there from Chuck Dickerson in his 12th season with Kentucky's program. Back to the vault now. Hannah McCrary set to go. The score is in for Holland Patrick is a 9.7 after Sydney Schaefer led them off with a 9.775.
Watch the distance on this vault. She usually gets very good distance from the table, but she needs to keep a straight body. So see if you can see the pike in the air. She can keep those hips open. It's a higher score, much better. She piked down a little bit for the landing.
Darianne Goborn now for Auburn on beam after Morgan Lee led them off with a 9.775.
Darianne isn't always in the beam lineup. A little unsure on that handspring layout step out. This is an event she tends to get a little bit nervous, and it's just the event you have to be supremely confident and to be able to completely trust your training. I do like how deliberate she is.
Callie Nixon starting her bar routine for Kentucky at the same moment.
And I love Callie Nixon's straight arm work on bars and really straight body line. Beautiful handstand positions. Need a little bit more straddle position from Darianne on balance beam. Great routine. Another one for Kentucky.
Nixon coming after Bailey Bunn notched a 9.8.
Darianne has been mostly solid if she can get this stick.
Nice.
Look at the fight. That is Darianne. She does not give up at all.
As we saw on the bars.
Yes, her feet did need to be a little bit closer together on the landing to be no deduction.
Maya Marshall coming after Hannah McCrary had a 9.775.
A lot of power in this run. Good distance from the table. Nice control. That's their strongest vault so far.
Most control on the landing as well. No scores yet for Missouri in the 9.8s on vault yet. Missouri 2/10 behind after the first rotation. Kentucky had the lead. Kathy, let's remind the audience what the judges are looking for on this event on bars.
Well, keep in mind where the judges sit, right to the side so they can really see those handstand positions. They need to be right in that 90-degree vertical position or within 10 degrees for no deduction. I need to see a little bit more than that. I need to see straight arms and really straight back, ribs in, no angles in the shoulders, no angles in the hips to be perfect. The release moves, whether they're single bar or flight elements in between, look for the difficulty and the technique on those. And of course the landing.
9.85 was the score for Callie Nixon. Shaylin Luxick now.
Nice, big, beautiful ray.
Oh, what a save.
Overcooked that handstand, that arch will be a deduction. Well, you can see how they have paid such close attention to the details, keeping those feet together at the end of the kip. Oh, good fight. Well done. I thought she was going to move that right foot, and she kept it planted on the floor. Well done. Unfortunately, the judges will have to take this deduction right here. Just overdid it. It was an aggressive error, which is the best kind you can make when you're the coach. Looking at your athlete, you want them to go hard and risk that.
How about that form on that double layout?
Oh.
It's very rare that the athletes keep those feet together throughout. Well done, Shaylin Luxick. Meredith Sylvia. Drew Watson will come up next for Auburn on beam after Darian Goborn hit a 9.725. Morgan Lee Oldham let them off with a 9.775.
I love watching Drew Watson prepare. She talks to herself, and I know she's listening. That's the important thing. Going over those strong cues that every gymnast has, and it's choreographed into the routine so they can set up and follow through and finish every single skill, whether it be the acrobatic elements or the dance. Here's her acro series. Back handspring layout, step out, very solid. This is the kind of experience and determination you want in this middle spot in the lineup. Look how firmly and deliberately she brings those arms down to press into the beam. Switch leap. Boy, she had to work to get that connection. They may take, I hope they'll just take a slight deduction, give her the credit for the connection. She kept those arms moving, but that's a judge's call. She has battled all season long to be here. She's had some injuries she's had to manage. So wonderful to see her hit so well.
Josie Angeny, one of the outstanding all-arounders for Kentucky on bars, coming after Luxick at a 9.725.
Nice long swing, beautiful amplitude. Lost her toe point just a little bit. Good final handstand right on top. And they are known for their dismounts. They do a phenomenal job. Look at that, the most difficult dismount in the competition. Double layout with a full twist.
Effortlessly done. Wow.
So this release move right here, it's called a straddle Jaeger. She does it very well, just minor little form deductions. They're tiny. But that dismount, wow, that was gorgeous.
Meredith Sylvia coming up now for Auburn on the beam.
And these next two beam routines are stellar. They are natural beam workers. Their basic training on this event is just superb. So watch the details on this, the footwork, the toe point, how the ankles are in line with the toe when they go up on that high toe, and they perform it.
Meredith Sylvia, like many of these athletes, recently honored by the SEC for Community Service Award during the pandemic. She fostered 20 animals during the pandemic. And all these animals came from the Lee County Humane Society. And I think it just emphasizes, Kathy, that we see these amazing, remarkable athletes. We forget what great students they are and what they also do in their community.
Oh, my heart just burst out of my chest. Look at the sweet babies that she is helping get them to their forever homes. How wonderful.
Here she is now on the beam, coming after Drew Watson's score of a 9.8.
Well, you need uncanny cat-like skills, so maybe they've rubbed off on her because you need this awareness constantly. Your center of mass right over the beam. And a great balance beam worker makes everything look effortless, easy, calm, and secure. Look at the fluid move from the front aerial to the two back handsprings. You can tell when a balance beam performer is so confident, so trusting of their training, they'll look away from the beam. Switch leap to a sheep jump, very difficult. They'll take a slight deduction for lifting that foot to check her balance.
3 times this year she scored 9.9. She's a beam specialist. This is all she does. She has been superb in this pressure spot for the Auburn Tigers.
I love the way she uses her breathing to really perform and emphasize the little goodies in this routine. Well done,
nice.
and a stick.
Wow.
They looked so good in the warm-ups, and I hope they could bottle it and bring it in the competition when the nerves are high and the pressure's on.
The senior from Macungie, Pennsylvania. We often realize at this point in the season, Kathy, that many of these athletes are starting to compete for their final times. Conference championship, regional, and hopefully NCAAs.
Stop that, you're gonna make me cry.
That's very emotional. Josie Angeny for Kentucky had a 9.875. That brought up Raina Worley, the anchor performer for the Wildcats.
And this is a gorgeous routine. Look at that perfect handstand. Here's her single bar release. Tkachev would have liked to have turned it over just a little bit more, but those handstands are so well done, right on top of the bar. Showing them off and through to the finish again. Another full out. That's a double back with a full twist on the second somersault. What a rotation for Kentucky.
You know, Tim Garrison said they wanted to get a strong start on vault and keep the momentum going. They're clearly doing that here, Kathy.
Absolutely. They have really focused in on the things that they know they're so obvious for the judges to take the deductions. Hitting handstands, stick those landings, and I love the amplitude they're showing on those dismounts.
And the score in is a 9-9 career high here at the SEC Championship. What a time to do it. So Kentucky with a 98.4 is the leader after 2 rotations. We do not have all the scores in, obviously, for Auburn on beam. All of these events happening simultaneously. Clearly the vault finishes first, so Missouri is done. Their final vaulters, Sienna Schreiber had a 9.85 and Belle Gatula only a 9.325. Of course, that score can be dropped. So Missouri's score of 97.875 is their team score at the halfway point. Gabby McLaughlin now on beam for Auburn after Meredith Sylvia got their highest score so far, 9.85.
And this is as pretty and polished a routine as you will see. Handspring layout, step out, very solid. Switch leap to straddle quarter. Flourishes really suit her style and the flow of this routine. Oh, no. Will not get that connection, that aerial cartwheel to the split jump. That's how they earn those bonus points to have a 10.0 start value. Gainer Pike off the end. Hopefully she had a backup in there. I'm trying to tabulate in my head because I'm not judging a routine while I'm commentating, but if she had a backup so that she's got all the requirements necessary, she'll have that 10.0 start value.
McLaughlin, the freshman from Irving, Texas.
Nice shot of the beam. Just in case you were wondering how narrow that balance beam is, where they have to keep those hips and chest right in line, keep that center mass right over the beam.
Tomorrow night we'll have the second of the 3-game series between Texas A&M and the number 12 LSU. For you right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Coverage starts at 6 Eastern. We'll also have the series finale on Monday. Cassie Stevens will be the final performer on Auburn. It's interesting, Kathy, because all the coaches told us in the preparation for this meet, they've been doing dual meets all season long, and dual meet has a certain rhythm. It's going back and forth event to event. Now in a quad meet, in this case a tri-meet, there's a different dynamic. You're waiting for the scores as opposed to another athlete going. And the coaches were really concerned that their athletes would keep their heads in the game, not get distracted, and stay focused.
Yeah, and even for those who are used to this kind of competition with 4 going at the same time, this feels different because Georgia would be on floor right now with floor music going and much more energy. So there's a different feel in this competition, especially over here on balance beam. Normally you'd hear the floor music. It's a little bit louder, and sometimes that's nice to not have the quiet where you can hear yourself breathe. But these athletes, they have trained for this kind of pressure all season long, and we all know pressure and heat makes diamonds. And so they put themselves in those positions often in practice and in competition.
Interesting what a young team Auburn is. Only 3 athletes on this program have competed in the postseason before. So only 3 of them have actually had this experience out of their entire team. Let's talk about what the judges will be looking for in this event, Kathy.
The dance and the acro skills, you want to look at the difficulty and how they're connected. They need certain connections in these routines for those 10-0 start values. And then the balance. Every little check of balance that veers from perfect are slight deductions that may range from 1/4 of a tenth a point all the way up to a 4/10 for a major bend over and almost grab the beam to save it. 3.
16 of the 24 routines for Auburn come from underclassmen. 14 of those routines come from the sophomore class, and that includes Cassie Stevens out of Phoenix, Arizona. Last year she was on the 2020 SEC all-freshman team. Of course, the season was cut short just 1 week before this SEC championship last year. A heartbreak for all these athletes. That's why it's so rewarding to be here in person in competition
We'll
today.
see how Cassie Stevens handles that, because that was the equivalent of icing the kicker by the judges trying to come up with that start value. And in fact, it was a 9.8 start value for the previous beam routine. She did not get the credit, so it's
her
going to be...
score was only a 9.575.
Exactly. Cassie has been so consistent on this event. That leap into a switch ring. She needs a little bit more bend of that back leg to really get that perfect ring shape position in the air. Here's her skill, the Stevens. Front toss from one leg down to the knee. Finishes with a round up 1.5 twist and an excellent landing. Very, very solid routine. She'll swing this leg through, so off of one foot, a front toss down to that one knee. She created that skill, and it has her name in the JO code of points. Look at that smile on the stick. Nice.
Okay, that completes the second of 4 rotations here in session 1 of the 2021 SEC Gymnastics Championship. Highlight in that rotation, Raina Worley on bars with a 9.9, Kathy.
They were impressive from the first gymnast to the last, and Raina came up huge for them with good form. Nice tight twist on the full out.
And on beam for Auburn, it was Meredith Sylvia, their high score at this point until we get the score for Cassie Stevens.
A truly exquisite performance. Just took her time, patient, calm, beautiful job.
All right, we're at the halfway point here in Huntsville, Alabama. The SEC Gymnastics Championships underway. The teams move to the third of 4 rotations when we come back to Rocket City, Alabama. We're in Huntsville today.
Leah Little served as the first head coach in Kentucky history. She started the UK gymnastics program, which was elevated to the varsity status in 1980, where she led the Wildcats for 28 seasons. Over her career, Little was 2-time SEC Coach of the Year. She also coached 3 All-Americans, including 8-time NCAA champion Jenny Hansen. Kentucky honors Leah Little in celebration of Women's History Month.
Leah Little started that program, and Tim Garrison now in charge in his 10th season. Unprecedented success at Kentucky. Done an outstanding job. You can see some of his accolades there. 2018 National Coach of the Year, as he's comparing notes with Jeff Graba, the head coach at Auburn. Now, Tim tells us he's really proud of his team, the scholarship athletes and the non-scholarship athletes. And he said, some people call us walk on you. Look at this, during the regular season, in one meet, Kathy, 33% of his scores on uneven bars and balance beam, and half of his scores on floor came from walk-on, non-scholarship athletes. And that's been an important story for all of these teams, not just Kentucky.
Absolutely. With some of the meets where they had to change lineups if somebody wasn't available because of COVID protocols, there were athletes who stepped into lineups they've never competed. So specialists became multi-eventers. Multi-eventers became all-arounders. It's been so exciting and a wonderful thing to celebrate, because the way they treat their athletes is equal, the same. It doesn't matter if you're a scholarship athlete or a walk-on. You are valued and important.
Tuesday, SEC Inside gives you an all-access pass to the SEC Gymnastics Championship with never-before-seen footage and sounds. It all starts at 10 Eastern right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. There are the SEC Inside guys. They're shooting super slow-mo. It should be a fun show to watch. All right, we'll come back to Huntsville for the third of 4 rotations in a little bit. The athletes are moving to the next rotation. Kentucky will be on the beam, Auburn on the floor, and Missouri will be on the bars. Here in Huntsville, Alabama, I'm Bart Connor along with Kathy Johnson-Clark. Today we have 4 hours of live coverage of women's collegiate gymnastics, the SEC Gymnastics Championships, the 2021 edition. We're at the halfway point in this competition. So far it's been all Kentucky. They led after the first rotation by 2/10, and after the second rotation they lead by .375. Missouri had 3 season-high scores on vault. Kentucky, Raina Worley had a 9.9 on bars, career high, and Auburn's Cassie Stevens a 9.9 career high on beam in that second rotation. Quick reminder that you can watch every single routine of your favorite team on the ESPN app. Each apparatus has its own channel as well as the all-around channel with every apparatus going on at once. So if you seem to be missing somebody you want to see, just launch the app and you'll be able to see every single routine right there. Set now for the third of 4 rotations. In this rotation, Kentucky's on the beam, Auburn on the floor, Missouri on the bars. Reina Alvarez on the beam for Kentucky as we speak.
Such an important event for Kentucky. They have competed so well, so confidently so far. Early in the season, they were struggling to find their consistency in this lineup. Heavily on floor exercise. Very entertaining floor routine Very good control on that second tumbling pass, and a solid routine for Kentucky. Nice job for Reina Alvarez. She has not been in the lineup much this year, so great start. Finish this with a double tuck. Needs to get the chest up on the landing. Oh no. Oh, that's too bad. They're gonna start the rotation with a fall. Oh, 5/10 of a point for the fall. Of course, this will be the score they hope to drop, and I'm trying to make sure her ankles are okay, because there's no way that felt good. Just ran out of steam. Did not get those arms up out of the back handspring. Sometimes that's just fatigue at the end of the routine.
Once again, all of the apparatus takes on a little bit different dynamic when it's up on the podium, and sometimes that can also throw off your timing a little bit. Adelina Huffendiek will be up first for Missouri on the bars.
I think we're waiting on that score. Definitely seeing a delay, and we saw this throughout the season. There were delays in the judging. Yes. So here's the problem. We're as confused up here because it looked like they had changed their lineup, and then they went in the original order. So
actually, you can get a deduction from
yes,
a
it is a
neutral
deduction. It's a neutral deduction
if you go out of order. So not only have they confused us, they confused the judges as well. So we'll get it all worked out as Isabella McNally starts the beam now for Kentucky, coming after Reina Alboras led them off with 9.75.
Isabella opens with a triple series. You get bonus for connecting these 3 acrobatic elements together. Layout, layout.
Nice.
Very well done. These leaps are so important. Hitch kick. Her left leg was a little low. You need both legs up evenly in that straddle position.
Addie Sabato starting her floor routine for Auburn.
And they are in a must-hit situation. All 5 of the remaining competitors have to hit these routines.
That's because the score for Morgan Lee Olden only a 9.05.
Dismount on beam. Oh, a hop back. Little deduction there, but really solid in the routine. Collegiate gymnastics has really become a showcase for floor exercise. Music choice, choreography. We've seen routines go viral. We've seen so much excitement around these floor performances. Little nod before she goes. That's an I got this. 1.5 to front layout. Love the dramatic finish. Beautiful. So they're back on track. Got this pass. The judges are looking for amplitude, rise off the floor on those somersaults. We'll see some that go higher. And of course, they need to see the good form, legs together, and the perfect layout shape for no deduction.
All right, looks like they've squared things up on bars. This is, of course, Elisa Sharameta. Adelina Huffendiek had a 9.7 in that lead-off spot.
Open with a giant line change right there. The straddle shoulder, so high. Maybe the judges won't notice that the left foot lost his toe point just a little bit. Oh, little leg separation on that bail handstand. These are the tiny little details that can be minute deductions. More of a cumulative deduction at the end. I love that dismount, front 1.5.
That's old school, Kathy. That's good stuff.
That's awesome. Don't call me old.
Hey, I'm older than you, Kathy. I just love that, the way she hung it. It's called a Rudy. It's fun. Yeah. Caitlin de Guzman, how about this, Kathy? She hasn't been in the lineup all year. And here she is late in the season. she has really poured it on. I asked Tim Garrison earlier, I said, we haven't seen much of her this year, and he said, you know, she just earned her spot here as the postseason approached. He said she's just been beating out people, so here she goes. Give her the chance.
I can see why. Watching her warm up both on beam and floor, she is beautiful on these two events. Little bit of nerves right there. And that's just a lack of experience in this pressure situation. You really have to attack the landings and press down into the beam. And that not only settles you and pulls that center of mass right into the balance beam, but it settles your nerves as well.
McNally before her had a 9.8.
Nice position in those leaps, even kept her toe point in a sheep jump. That jump is so difficult to make look good because it's an awkward position, but you can make it look elegant, hitting that shape and keeping those toes pointed. Nice job, a little scoot back, but good for her. Handled an immense amount of pressure. Oh, well-deserved smile.
Good for her. She failed to make the lineup the regular season, but steps up in the postseason. Way to go, Caitlin de Guzman. Aria Brush now on floor after McNally had Sabatos had a 9.825.
Front through to double tuck. Great to see Aria Brush in the lineup on floor. Early in the season, she subluxed her shoulder in this floor routine. And it's kept her out of this lineup for a while.
Holland Patrick on bars for Missouri at the same time. Score for Sharameta at 9.75.
Look at the straight body, beautiful position with that chest up high on that landing in the double A.
Missouri was second in the team competition at the halfway point. Kentucky has the lead.
With a pike double back. Just a large step into that lunge. They'll take a slight deduction because you need to keep that front foot down as you go into the lunge. If it slides, they're going to see it. And when you're competing on podium, it becomes much more obvious.
Bailey Bunn will be next to go for Kentucky on the beam. De Guzman a 9.775.
Series back handspring, layout, another triple series for Kentucky.
Nice.
Not quite showing that complete split on either of those two jumps. That is a special requirement on balance beam. And in order to show it and the judges to see it, you really have to go to an oversplit so that we see that full 180 degree, but a solid routine, just that hop on the landing. Very solid on that opening triple series. Nice to see them hitting secure routine after secure routine.
Just moments ago on the bars, Maya Marshall coming after Holland Patrick had a 9.775.
You can get excited now for her sky-high dismount. But first, she's got to catch this release move.
Wow.
Beautiful amplitude on that straddle Jaeger and goes right into the overshoot. Love this long stretch through her body. Uses her height so well. Check this out.
Wow.
That thing was a rocket. Like, it just took off.
And just starting her floor routine, Cassie Stevens for Auburn. As we said, there's 3 events all going simultaneously. Remember, if you want to see every routine of your favorite team, go to the ESPN app and you can pull that up. You won't miss anything. Aria Brush had a 9.85 before Stevens started.
Switch ring, switch half. Much better position than her beam position. Beautiful in that ring.
Starting her beam routine now. For Kentucky coming after Bailey Bunn at a 9.9.
Nice job on the double back. Cassie Stevens having a great competition here. Very secure on all of her routines. Good control on those landings.
Score for Amaya Marshall for Missouri on bars is in now. It's a 9.825. Sienna Schreiber starting her routine now in the 5th spot.
Roy is doing a nice job with her beam routine. Very solid. Big, beautiful double layout dismount. Oh, just that hop on the landing. Finishes strong with a 1.5 twist. Couldn't quite get that stick on the dismount.
Good scores for Kentucky on the beam there, led by that Bailey Bunn's 9.9. And of course, Tim Garrison was really high on her at the beginning of the season. He said, there's enormous potential with this young lady. He just sees her contributions to this team really accelerating. Tuesday, SEC Inside gives you an all-X pass to the SEC Gymnastics Championship with never-before-seen footage and sound. It all starts at 10 Eastern right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. There's John Carney, the assistant coach at Missouri and coordinator for recruiting, getting set for the final performers on his team. Now, there was a little confusion with bars. Apparently, Chelsea Christensen was first in the original lineup. They wanted to switch to Huffendijk for first, but then Christian still went first, so Huffendijk is now 6th in the original. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
No. So I'm as confused as you are what happened over there.
Drew Watson on 4 for Auburn. Opens with a high double back.
Score just came in for Cassie Stevens, 9.875.
Nice job with that first handstand on bars. Again, it hits that handstand while the blind change. A little bit bent arm on that last cast.
Hufferdijk coming after Sienna Schreiber notched a 9.825, their second one in a row. So Missouri really strong on bars in this third rotation.
This is such a powerful and dramatic piece of music and choreography. This is the best routine she has had in all her years in collegiate gymnastics. It suits her so well. She performs it extremely well. Solid as could be. Good for her.
While that floor routine was going on, Josie Angeny, the junior from Spring Hill, Tennessee, mounted the beam for Kentucky, coming after Raina Worley had a 9.85. Good scores for the Wildcats here. This is their anchor performer.
And this is her second year in that position. She's very comfortable with this kind of pressure. She has a triple series as well. Love to see the level of difficulty Kentucky is throwing on beam. Back handspring to 2 layouts. Look at her travel the whole length of the balance beam. And she lands it differently than most. Very upright, very high, not in that lunge with an aggressive press down with the arm. She stretches up. Oop. Slight balance break after the front aerial. Jump to a straddle quarter. I love to see the adjustment all of these gymnasts have been making on balance beam. Yesterday was rough in the podium training, and the beam is different. This is the first time they've been on this particular model of beam. It's their newest, greatest balance beam, but it felt different. And they have adjusted like the great athletes they are. Well done.
What a finish for the Wildcats on beam. There's her father, John and Janine, Josie's dad. He's a commercial pilot.
This isn't really fair to do to parents. I know my mom was on television once and she was doing the sign of the cross. But
I said, we can't miss you with that shirt on.
Yeah.
She looked up and rolled her eyes like, Dad, please. Darian Goborn coming after Drew Watson had a 9-9, and this routine is always a showstopper, Kathy.
Absolutely. Just sit back. Have some 80s fun. She had a little slide step out of that double down. This dance party for the final tumbling run. This is so much fun. High double back. Oh, wow. She pulled that out. Her chest was a little forward, but in true Wonder Woman style, she just, and the finish and walk it off.
You gotta own it. Outstanding. Darian Goborn coming after Drew Watson had a 9-9 on floor. Outstanding effort for Auburn in that third rotation after a 9.05 with the first performer. They dropped that score, and the scores after that were impressive. Highlight in that rotation included Bailey Bunn on beam for Kentucky with a 9-9.
Kentucky was outstanding on balance beam. Bailey Bunn just rocked this routine, solid as could be, directly in line with the beam with that double twist.
Drew Watson with a 9-9 of her own on floor, Kathy.
So exciting. As I said, this is the perfect routine for Drew. The music, the choreography, the tumbling selection.
All right, when we come back to Huntsville, the teams will move to the fourth and final rotation. Kentucky will be on the floor, Auburn will be on the vault, Missouri will finish up on the beam. It's the 2021 SEC Championship Session 1.
At Stitch Fix, we do this, so you can do this. We search while you swing. We measure while you make. We find fabrics while you find friends. We pick items you'll love while you do you. Our experts get to know you so they can send clothes that fit your shape and your life. Get started today.
Today, Tuesday, SEC Inside gives you an all-access pass to the SEC Gymnastics Championship. With never-before-seen footage and sounds, it all starts at 10 Eastern right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Hi everybody, I'm Bart Connor along with my fellow Olympic medalist Kathy Johnson-Clark. And Kathy, it's always a pleasure to work with you. And as we get down to the postseason, all the gymnastics takes on another level of pressure. Tell me your impressions today so far. It looks like Kentucky started strong on vault and they've really carried that momentum through to at least the third rotation.
They're the team that really has shown the most consistency. They've stayed calm, focused, they have come up with stuck landings, and they get to go to floor exercise, so they're absolutely the team to beat. But Auburn's only 0.2 of a point behind. They have to zero in on those stuck landings. They're doing 2 1.5 twists in their lineup. They really need to take advantages of those too high start values.
All right, let's take a look at the meet summary to this point. After the first rotation, Kentucky led by 0.2. They extended their lead to .375, but Auburn, final two floor exercise performers, scored 9.9 in that last rotation. Huff and Deke scored a 9.8 for Missouri on the bars. Kentucky, Bailey Bunn had a 9.9, and so their lead has been cut to just 0.2 as we go to the fourth and final rotation. Raina Worley for Kentucky. Always a highlight, Kathy.
As expected, she is so tough in competition. Nice high 1.5 twist. Fights for those landings in these pressure situations. Really beautiful bar work. Showed great amplitude on her flight skills. And this dismount finds that landing perfectly. And as we expected, Darian Goburn put on a show. No one has as much fun performing this. She made it her stage, and the judges loved it as well.
And Missouri will be on beam when we come back, and this is the event where they're highest ranked in the country. They're 10th in the NCAA, so they trail in this competition, but a chance to make it a game as we get into the fourth and final rotation. Once again, Kentucky leads. Auburn is second, just 0.2 of a point behind.
Sarah Shire was a 4-time All-American and a 2010 Honda Award finalist for the Missouri Tigers. Shire led her team to a 2010 NCAA championship appearance where she was runner-up on floor. A 2-time South Central Region Gymnast of the Year, she still holds or is tied for 3 Mizzou individual records. Missouri honors Sarah Shire in celebration of Women's History Month.
Welcome back to Huntsville. Bart Connor along with Kathy Johnson-Clark. Once again, a reminder that you can watch every single routine of your favorite team on the ESPN app. Each apparatus has its own channel, as well as the all-around channel, with every apparatus going at once. In this fourth and final rotation, we have Auburn on the vault, Missouri on the beam, and Kentucky on the floor.
That's Peyton Smith for Auburn, opening up with a Yurchenko full. Keep in mind, 0.2 of a point behind Kentucky. They need to stick those landings. Oh, the break, the balance break on the first balance beam routine. That's Belgatula from Missouri. Open with the triple series, a little problem with the balance at the end.
Missouri trailed the leaders, Kentucky, by .725. They're currently in third place of these three teams. Once again, a reminder that Georgia is not here. They are home dealing with COVID tests and contact tracing protocols, but expect to see them in 2 weeks as they host the NCAA Regional that we'll be covering here on the ESPN family of networks.
And Alboris doing a nice job for Kentucky on the floor exercise as Belgatula finishes up on balance beam. That'll be a pretty significant deduction for the balance break on beam, so they're going to want to tighten up in the next 5 performers. High double back, a little bit of flex speed and trouble controlling that landing. Most of the deductions in that routine are going to come in that final pass.
Moments ago on ball for Auburn, Piper Smith.
Nice form in that Yurchenko full. She landed a little bit close to the table, so she'll get a deduction for not quite the full amplitude in terms of height and distance. But good clean form, nice straight legs. So you'll see the difference here. Her hips are just about 4 feet. We will see gymnasts 5 feet and above, and then 4 feet from the table. Really want to see them back in that 6-foot range for sufficient distance.
She is coming up after Peyton Smith led them off with a 9.675. Keep in mind, they're just 0.2 of a point behind Kentucky. So as you mentioned, Kathy, they need solid landings here if they're going to make it a contest, because Kentucky's on the floor and they're strong there. Addie Sabados now. You see her vault, NQS, that's her national qualifying score, basically her average.
Another Yurchenko full. A little bit more distance on that vault. That hop back will be a slight deduction.
Well, here she is. She gave us a highlight on beam, Caitlin de Guzman. We mentioned she wasn't in the lineup this year and earned her spot here as the team prepped for postseason.
And when I saw her dance through yesterday, I was so excited that this is in the lineup. Front double twist, that's an E skill on the opening pass. It's the most difficult rating. Skills are rated from A to E. Switch ring.
Reina Alborez led them off with a 9.725 on floor for Kentucky.
Very nice job on the combination pass. She can improve on that score with a solid landing.
Drew Watson on vault for Auburn.
Good for her. A 1.5 twist vault, 10-0 start value, so this is a big opportunity for them.
Coming after Addie Sabados had a 9.8.
Rudy just pulls it around. Didn't quite have the height and rotation she needed, but what a lovely routine. The presentation.
Great potential for sure. Just a sophomore from Dallas, Texas, Caitlin de Guzman. Moments ago on beam for Missouri, Sydney Schaefer coming after Belle Gatula led them off with a pretty strong 9.725.
An interesting mount handstand on the board, right up to the balance beam. We'll see another triple series here. This time it's got 2 back handsprings to a layout step out. Darian Goborn on vault. This can be huge if she can get the stick. It's monstrous amplitude. Oh, she brought her head and chest forward right before she landed. You kind of got to trust the shape in the air and keep those arms open. Reach for the mat, but feel that landing to get the stick. Switch leap to split jump. Lovely positions in that split. So impressed with this beam team.
Yes.
They have had an extraordinary season on this event. Top 10 ranking. And there's the coach, Casey Jo McPherson. We know her as Casey Jo McGee. She was fearless herself as a balance beam performer.
She was a great champion at Arkansas, and now in her 8th season there at Missouri. She's largely responsible for their outstanding ranking there. Their best event by far on national rankings. Bailey Bunn on floor now for Kentucky. Scores for Kentucky are not that high yet. Reina Alborez a 9.725, Caitlin de Guzman 9.775. Meanwhile, Auburn, who was trailing by 0.2, is scoring well on vault.
The control on her landings have been extraordinary. Both passes have been perfectly stuck landings. Finishes with a Rudy, another good controlled landing. This one will be their highest score. It's exactly what she needed to do. Hit those 3 landings, because even though other things should matter. Everything should matter on the floor exercise. They focus on these landings, the judges. Those are obvious deductions, and you can't give them up.
Moments ago on vault for Auburn after Darian Goborn had a 9.85. The final performer for the Auburn Tigers, Cassie Stevens.
With a Yurchenko full, a big hop back on that. That's going to be a pretty sizable deduction. Nice job in the air. She got pretty good amplitude.
Never quite came to a complete stop, which is a requirement.
You really need the change of direction. You have to take this block up so that you can hit the shape in the air that's almost just hangs in the air, so you can see the landing first to be able to get that stiff.
Only a 9.675 is her score for that vault, so 3 scores in the 9.8 plus range for Auburn. It's going to make this very close. Remember, Auburn 0.2 of a point behind Kentucky coming into this 4th and final rotation. Auburn is done. Hannah Higas will be next up. The junior from Cincinnati for Kentucky.
It's with a Rudy to a layout step out.
Bailey Bunn scores in. It's a 9.9 for Kentucky. After having scores in the 9.7 range. That is a big boost for them in this 4th and final rotation. They have 3 final scores to go. Higas, Angeny, and Worley.
Nice position in those strata leaps and jumps. Hike double back. Really nice hike. Great control. She knew it. Great finish. It's so wonderful when you could just dance for joy to finish out the routine, because she knew she had hit that landing so perfectly. Well done.
Amaya Marshall on beam coming after Hannah McCrary had a career-high 9.85. That's 2 9.85s in a row for Missouri on this outstanding event for them.
Well, we were so hopeful we were going to see them put on a show on this event, and so far, no disappointment. Front aerial 2, her back handspring, back handspring. Gymnasts have to cover the entire length of a balance beam and show different level changes. High above the beam, the leaps, the aerials, and then down on the beam, choreography that is low to the beam. Really solid routine. Oh, I didn't think she needed to take that step. It just almost got the stick.
Anna Higas, a 9.925 in this final rotation of session 1 here at the SEC Championships. Josie Angeny coming up.
And what an opportunity for the final 2 performers for Kentucky. They are really good on this event. They can build in this last half of the lineup with stuck landings.
Angeny's been a rock for this team all year long in the all-around in every meet so far.
1.5 front layout, not quite as high as I'd like to see on that second somersault. It looked like she may have had to bend her knees slightly. I couldn't quite tell from that angle. Double back, this time in tuck position. Good high, oh, chest down on that landing. They'll take a little deductions on 2 of the passes, I think. They're just minor.
Beam now for Missouri. Score in for Amaya Marshall, 9.8. This is Elisa Sharamenda.
Series, back handspring layout, step out, very straight legs, beautiful toe point. Split jump to a ring jump, very difficult leap.
Talking to Shannon Welker, the head coach at Missouri the other day, and he said, I'm really proud of this team, and he said, I'm especially excited about next year. He says we have an outstanding recruiting class, and he said we have a great foundation, and they have been ranked as the 4th best recruiting class for next year's team. So very excited about not only what he has right now, but what the future of Missouri gymnastics can be.
Love how she shows off her flexibility, leg flexibility, back flexibility. No, they are so precise and so poised on this event. They can be really proud of this beam team performance. Well done.
Tell you, if I'm a head coach of a women's collegiate program, the first thing I do is find an outstanding woman to be my beam coach. You get somebody like Casey Joe or, you know, Dana Duckworth or somebody who really understands beam. If I were a head coach, Kathy, I'd hire you.
Okay.
I couldn't afford you, but I'm just saying.
I was going to say.
That is the key to success in college gymnastics. One of the big keys.
We're not saying that men can't coach balance beam,
can't.
but there is just something unique about the event that having done it, you can really relate to your athletes exceptionally well. You can help them find their important cues because every gymnast is different.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I understand the mechanics of gymnastics, but have never participated on a 4-inch wide beam. I wouldn't dare coach it. I would hand it to you.
Lucky you.
You want to try the pommel horse someday?
No, thanks, I'll stick to beam.
Okay. Josie Angeny, a 9.75. Raina Worley, the final performer here for Kentucky.
They can finish strong, full in.
They have clinched it on the score of Josie Angeny that came in. Now it's a 9.75, so their score, a 196.65, can be improved. Auburn is done. They were finished on vault with a 196.275. And Missouri out of the running at this point. So this is a bit of an encore performance for Raina Worley, who's had just a superb day.
She has. Strong on all 4 of her events. And as I said, it's in those pressure situations she can find these landings and just really not give away those obvious tenths of a point.
Another outstanding score on beam for Missouri, Elisa Sharameta, 985. Sienna Schreiber, their anchor performer here.
Sienna is ranked 14th in the nation on this event. She performs a triple series as well. This is a back handspring to 2 layout step-outs. Solid as can be. Raina finishing with a tuck double back. Great job to Kentucky. Really nice team performance, and as you said, Raina Worley was exceptional in the all-around.
And what a finish here for Missouri on beam. The last 4 scores in a row, 9-8 or better.
Switch, leap, half, split jump, beat jump, right into the dismount. Love the build to that dismount. 3 difficult leaps and jumps in a row and right into the dismount. Good for her. Great beam work. So you really want to see those of us who know balance beam and proper balance beam work, the footwork, the strength, the high toes, you want to see that rewarded. And it's a tricky thing, because if a gymnast goes up, hits a routine with no breaks, no balance problems, the score is high. But there's got to be some extra attention to those who really do exquisite beam work.
High score on floor for Kentucky, a 9.925 career high for Anna Higas. And Tim Garrison giving some final notes to his team that will win this session number 1. Kentucky will be first, Auburn second, Missouri will finish 3rd.
What a moment for Anna Higas. So exciting to see her come up with the routine of her life on floor exercise. Look at the joy.
9-9 is the score for Raina Worley to wrap up an outstanding day for her. Kentucky Wildcats, the winners of session 1. They're essentially going to be the leaders in the clubhouse as we get set for the final session tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, featuring 4 other teams from the SEC. Alabama, the Kentucky Wildcats, led by Tim Garrison, get the victory in session 1 of this 2021 SEC Championship. Auburn will finish 2nd, and Missouri Tigers will finish 3rd. These teams separated by 0.7 of a point. A great session of gymnastics here in the afternoon of this championship. Let's take a look at the meet summary. Kentucky led for the first 3 rotations, only 7 scores of 9-9. It's a low-scoring event, but we said that at the top of the show, Kathy. That's not unexpected when this is the first time of the year that the athletes have been judged by 4 judges, where the high and low scores are thrown out and the 2 scores in the middle are average. So there's more scrutiny as we get ready for the postseason, and I think that's important because you and I go a little bit crazy during the regular season because the scores seem to get out of hand.
The scores sometimes fly as high as the gymnastics that we see, so we expected to see them to be a little bit tighter here to really show that separation. So that was good to see. I loved seeing the fight because these athletes have been through so much this entire season. And we watched workouts yesterday. They had to work through some issues then, and they all came out strong here. Kentucky was on top of their game. They stayed very, very focused and really got those landings, especially on the uneven bars, and there at the end on floor exercise to wrap it up.
When we talked to Kim Garrison before the meet, he said we want to start strong on vault and kind of build that momentum and stay focused throughout. They certainly showed that. And of course, one of their superstars, Raina Worley, there's no surprise there, one of the 3 outstanding all-arounders for the Kentucky Wildcats.
As expected, she is just so good in these high pressure situations. Very difficult 1.5 twist vault, almost got that perfect stick, and then look at this one, just high chest, feet, no movement, and was tough as nails on balance beam. So no weak event. That is the sign of a great all-arounder. Did the difficult first tumbling pass, finished strong, provided the leadership they needed to take the win in this first session.
So that sets the stage, because tonight in session 2, of course, we'll see the top 4 teams in the SEC. That's Florida, LSU, Alabama, and Arkansas. That'll be live at 8 Eastern on the SEC network. And of course, these teams that competed this afternoon are in the same meet, even though they compete in 2 separate sessions. So essentially, Kentucky is the leader in the clubhouse, and 4 top teams will go and try to beat that score later on this evening. All right, we're joined by Tim Garrison, the head coach at Kentucky and outstanding all-arounder and the winner of today's all-around in session 1, Raina Worley. Hi, folks. How you guys doing? Congratulations.
We're feeling pretty good right now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Tim, we talked with you earlier in the week, and you said, you know, the goal is to start strong on vault and kind of use the emotion from that and build on that. Is that what you saw for your team today?
Yeah, we did. We were vault's a strong event for us, you know, for us to go out there and basically set the pace on that event. We knew that was going to be important for us, and I feel like we did that. And we weren't perfect by any stretch, but we're really accomplished over there, and I think we did a solid enough job to give us a good spring going into bars, and I thought we capitalized on it.
I was really impressed, Tim, with the uneven bar work, really patient on those cast handstands, the attention to detail, and those high-flying dismounts and stuck landings.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
And Raina Worley, what an all-around performance. You were so strong from start to finish, and we talked about how you were able to, in these high-pressure events, find those landings. Talk us through your thought process, the whole meet.
Definitely throughout the skill, just keep an eye on the landings and have in mind the drills that Tim has us do throughout every practice. Just while I have those in mind, spot the landing and use it, and once we find the floor, grab it with the piggy toes, as Tim calls them.
You now
got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. All right, you are the leaders in the clubhouse. I guess you can sit back and see if any of the other teams in the later session can contest with you all. But as you look towards the final postseason, the regionals and the national championships, what other things would you like to tweak to make sure you're a contender for a national title?
Yeah, well, I tell you, we just need to continue to execute at a high level in training. You know, we've got a little bit of time now, 4 days of training next week, and probably 2 to 3, depending on where we're going next week, or the week after that, rather, leading up to regionals. And we just need to fine-tune, continue working on a lot of those drills that Raina just mentioned, you know, and perfecting those handstands and getting where we're solid all the way through these routines. That way we can come out, you know, with a result that we're looking for, which is obviously qualifying down to Fort Worth and NC2As.
Congratulations, Tim and Raina, on the winners of Session 1. It's an outstanding day here at the SEC Gymnastics Championships that will bring to close this first session. What an outstanding day for Kentucky, Auburn, and Missouri. We'll be back in a minute to finally wrap this one up. 8 Eastern, a champion will be crowned in the second session of the SEC Gymnastics Championship, with top 4 seeds Florida, LSU, Alabama, and Arkansas competing right here on the SEC Network and streaming live on the ESPN app. And that session tonight features 5 of the top 10 all-around gymnasts in the country. You're not going to want to miss that one, with Trinity Thomas, Luisa Blanco, Kennedy Hambrick, Haley Bryant, and Megan Skaggs. What a great day we had in Session 1 of the SEC Gymnastics Championship for 2021. I'm Bar Connor for Kathy Johnson-Clark and our entire crew. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you join us at 8 Eastern for the final session tonight. For now, let's go to SEC softball, Missouri versus Georgia, Sam Gore and Kayla Bro.